Welcome to Rob's Arcade. I'm your host Rob, and I'm coming to you once again from the arcade with another fantastic episode. We're going to be doing an art class, followed by another trip to the Classic Game Showcase, where we spent some time playing an awesome old school video game. Now the topic of this episode is one that's near and dear to my heart, because this is a cartoon that I used to watch every single day after school when I was a kid. You guys might even recognize the theme song. Ducktales! Now let's check out what we're going to be drawing. That's right, Player 2s. On this episode, we're going to be drawing Scrooge McDuck from the current Ducktales cartoon, followed by a trip to the Classic Game Showcase, where we play a game based on the classic Ducktales cartoon. Now, Scrooge McDuck and I have something in common. No, I'm definitely not rich. My money bin is pretty much a piggy bank half full of pennies. The thing we have in common is that we both have a lucky dime. Now, I'm glad that I'm a flesh and blood human being, and I don't have to worry about that weirdo Magic of Dispel trying to steal my lucky dime. Not cool. Okay, Player 2s, let's start drawing Scrooge McDuck. We're going to be using the same three-step process we always use. When I draw in red, we press very lightly with our pencils. These are the guidelines. We're going to go back and erase all these lines at a later step. The first thing that we're going to draw, again, very lightly with your pencil, is an oval. Make sure to leave some room at the top and the bottom of your paper because we're going to have to draw his top hat and we're going to have to draw his neck. When we're done with that oval, we're going to draw a guideline very lightly right through the original oval that we did. Now this is going to split everything in half, so it's going to be easier to make it symmetrical. Symmetrical means even on both sides. So now that we have the line and we have our oval, we're going to draw a little curve right here that doesn't exactly meet the oval right there, but just gets very close to it. The same thing, and we're going to try to make everything the same size. Next step, inside of our original oval, we're going to draw two larger ovals, about this size. When we're done with that, starting at the bottom of our oval here, we're going to draw a line here, a line here. Alright, we're going to try to make those even on both sides. When we're done with that, we're going to draw a small line here, a large line here, and bring it up to a curve. So it's kind of like you have a sideways letter J. Again, the same thing on this side. Line. Actually, I did that a little bit too big. Line. Curve. There you go. After that, we're going to close it up like so. Same thing right here. And then when we're done with that, do a little rectangle right here at the bottom. As you can see, it looks like his face is almost done. We have his eyes, we have his beak, we have his mouth. What we're going to do, we're going to draw a skinny line line here to kind of do his neck and then curve it off at the bottom curve. Then, starting down here just a little bit, we're going to do a line, and we're going to curve it up to here. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to do a line, try to keep that even down there, curve it up to here. So there we have his collar. So as of right now, eyes, beak, neck, collar. Inside of his eyes, we're going to do his eyeballs. Now his eyeballs are a little different because we're going to do it where it's you do a smaller oval, and then inside the oval, you're going to draw a little triangle. The triangle is just a guideline because when we go back in, we're going to fill this in all black, and he's going to kind of have eyes that look like little Pac-Mans. At the top of our original oval we first did, we're going to do 2 curved lines. One curve, 2 curves. Now we're going to do some of his feathers right now. We're going to do a line here, go down here, do another line there. We're going to do a slightly curved line, closing up here, and then another line that connects to here. So it kind of looks like 3 triangles, except one of them has a little curve. And inside one of those, we'll do a little curve. Okay, now we'll do this again on the other side. Line, line, line. We're going to try to make everything equal. Little curve. Don't do that too far. Little curve. Another line. And another one. Close it up right about there. So there we have our feathers. The next step, I'll go back to this. Line, line, line. Curve, line, line, line. Now we're going to do the hat. We're going to start right about here. I'll make another line right here on the other side just so you have an idea where we're going. And then we're going to bring a little curve around here. Stop right there. Curve it to here. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to try to keep it even. That's why we have the guideline right down the middle. If it makes it easier, you can also draw other guidelines very lightly just to help place your artwork. We're going to do a curve right to there. Now this drawing is very easy because of the fact that we do most of our actual drawing in the guideline step. We're going to do a little line here, a little line here, and then we're going to close it off. So we all should have something that looks very similar to this. If you don't, that's okay. We're learning here. This is a new process for a lot of you. If you're having issues, if you feel like you missed a step, if you feel like I've gone too fast, the good thing about us doing this on YouTube is you can pause it, you can rewind it, you can go back, slow it down if you need to. If you guys are ready, we're going to go on to the next step. I'm going to start in the middle, and just, again, we're drawing in blue, so you're going to be pressing slightly harder with your pencils. This is stage 2. We're still going to have to go back in and erase all these lines at the finishing step. But in this step, you're going along your guidelines, and if you see any mistakes along the way, this is where you can fix it. This is where you can clean it up a little bit. If you see a line that's too short, you can make it longer. If you see a line that's too long, you can make it shorter. If things don't seem straight, you can straighten them out. That's why we work in pencil. That's why we press very lightly. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to start with this beak. Then down to his mouth and his neck and his collar. Now I'm going to go back to the eyes. Trace over those. And then inside the eyes, I'm just going to follow the guidelines so I can go here where the triangle was and trace it around. So it kind of looks like Pac-Man. It looks like a piece of a pie that's a little longer that's got a piece missing. And do the same thing on this side. Try to make everything even. Go back over his feathers on the side of his face. Right through the line in the middle there. And do the same thing over here. Instead of having this just an oval, I'm going to kind of curve it, bring it around to here, go over his eyebrows, and do the same thing down there. We're going to go up to the hat. This is where we're going to add a couple more smaller details. We're going to go around the brim of the hat right here. When we go in and color this is going to be all black. So I'm just going to shade this in just a little bit to kind of indicate that it's going to look black. I'll do the same thing with the eyeballs, excuse me, just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. I'll trace over the guidelines that we did up here. Now inside the hat, we're going to do a small little curve at the top. So he has a stripe on his hat. And then over here, we're going to do is kind of like two letter S's. Alright, that's a highlight. So that's where the light would be hitting his hat. So it just kind of makes it stand out a little bit, adds a little bit of shape. So this would eventually be colored in, everything around the highlight. So I'm just going to shade that in rather quickly so we have something like this. His collar, by the way, would be black as well. So I'm going to shade that in really quickly just so you have an idea. And there you go. That's it for stage 2. Take a look at your drawing. The next step we're going to do is the finishing step. We're going to take our black felt tip pen or black magic marker and we're going to ink over all the blue lines. When the ink dries, we're going to take our erasers and we're going to erase all of the pencil lines, leaving only the black marker lines that we've done. So at this stage, just take a look at your drawing. Make sure that you've made all the steps. If you need to, rewind it. Pause it. Do whatever you need to do to just try to keep up. So I'm going to start with the eyes here. I'm just going to shade that in really, really fast. A little Pac-Man shape. And the other eye. Now here's a little fun fact about me. When I was growing up, we didn't have Cartoon Network or Disney XD or anything like that. Like Saturday mornings were when we could watch cartoons. And after school, they started showing cartoons of the Disney afternoon. So it would be Ducktales, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, and then we'd have the action cartoons like He-Man and Transformers and G.I. Joe. That was like the only time we could ever watch those cartoons was either after school or Saturday and sometimes Sunday mornings. Every day I got home from school and I turned on the TV and watched DuckTales. I loved this cartoon when I was growing up. And now it's nice that I can share that with you guys. So I'm going over his little feathers on the side right here. Whoops, I don't know why I just did that. Then over the top of the head, the eyebrows, and then across the hat. The little stripe on the hat, and the top of the hat. I'm going to go over the highlight. And then I'm going to start shading this stuff in a little bit. Now be careful. One thing a lot of people do, and I'm guilty of this myself, is that when you draw, you put your hand on the paper. So sometimes if your hand is on the paper and you're drawing, you'll end up smearing your drawing. So just be very careful with that. But again, the good thing is that we work in pencil first, so if you do end up smearing stuff, you can go back and erase it. Just be careful with the ink and just make sure that you're not going over the ink and having it all over yourself. So I'm going to shade in the black right here. And then right here, just to kind of indicate what this would look like when it's finished. Down here. And there we go. We have just drawn Scrooge McDuck. Nice work, Player 2s. Now we're going to visit the Classic Game Showcase momentarily, but first, here's a little word for my Patreon subscribers. On this edition of the Classic Game Showcase, we're going to spend some time with the awesome Ducktales game for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Released in 1989 by Capcom, this action platformer was based on the Disney cartoon of the same name. You control Scrooge McDuck as he travels around the world collecting treasure and outwitting various villains from the classic animated series. Scrooge is armed only with his wits and his cane, which he can use to defeat enemies as well as break open or throw certain objects. He can also bounce on his cane, kind of like it's a pogo stick, and attack enemies from above. This bouncing maneuver also allows players to reach higher areas, as well as bounce across hazardous terrain that would cause damage if he attempted to cross it on foot. Along the way, Scrooge will encounter treasure chests that when opened will reward him with various diamonds or desserts that will restore his health. Characters from the show like Launchpad McQuack and Gizmo Duck appear from time to time to offer Scrooge assistance. The game features 5 levels, which players can visit in any order. At the end of each level, Scrooge encounters a boss that he must defeat to retrieve one of 5 main treasures. When all of the treasures are collected, Scrooge must return to Transylvania to face the final boss, Dracula Duck. This game is a classic and in my opinion one of the best games ever released for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It is available now in all of its 8-bit glory on the Disney Afternoon compilation, which was recently released for the PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. This compilation includes other classic retro games based on Disney properties such as Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, Darkwing Duck, and Tailspin, all games deserving their own classic game showcases. In 2013, a remastered version of DuckTales was released for the PC, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Wii U, featuring high-resolution graphics and voice work by the cast of the original series. This game is still available and is just as fun to play as the classic Nintendo version. DuckTales is a love letter to fans of the original show and a must-play for kids of all ages. I highly recommend playing it if you get the opportunity. Till next time. And that's a wrap on another episode of Rob's Arcade. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to help this channel grow. Also, be sure to follow Rob's Arcade at the social media links listed in the description below. Now, as far as the next episode goes, the only clue I'm going to give my Player 2s is it's not a bird, and it's not a plane. Until then, keep drawing, and I'll see you all next time at Rob's Arcade.